Our business guest, you may have seen on another TV programme discussing business of sorts. Noorul Choudhury is here from The Apprentice. Welcome to Channel M News.
Hi there.
Nice to have you with us. Before we get into the business stories that you'll be familiar with because they're from the area of teaching where you are, Sir Alan's taken his seat in the House of Lords. Did you watch it when he did it?
I didn't, unfortunately. I've been reading up on the paper, and yeah, Lord Clapton or Clapham from
yes,
from
he's Lord Baron Sugar of Clapton.
Yeah. I think that's the name. The title comes from where he first started out selling beetroot. It was he used to boil him and peel him, and that's where he initially started his entrepreneurship. That's where his name's come from, I think. And
you're happy, and you think it's a sort of the right way to reward his contribution and achievements?
When you look at all the things Sir Alan's done over the past decades and the role model he does play in business sense, I think it's very credible the fact that he has been given this lordship, and you know, due respect to him, he deserves it. He is a thoroughly nice guy, you know, when you know him and sort of...
He's horrible on the telly.
That's all about The Apprentice, and but you know, off camera he's such a nice, decent chap, and someone who's got time for me. You know, I've spoken to him off camera.
Oh, that was my next question. When you're fired, is that it? Or does he speak to you after and say, listen, what you really want to be doing is this, and that?
No, he does. He does actually come and speak to you. Although, you know, some candidates he didn't.
Oh, really? Which ones?
I can't really possibly tell you about that.
No, go
on. But, like, when we went back for the final episode, and I had a good chat with him, because of this new role that he's playing, this enterprise SAR, you know, under Gordon Brown. And because I work in a school and we're trying to encourage our own students to get into apprenticeships. So I had a chat with him, and hopefully, you know, things can come off that. And
it'd be good if you can get him down as a guest to talk to the kids, wouldn't it?
That's my main aim at the moment.
It'd be terrific.
School, yeah.
It'd be terrific. We're talking about Gordon Brown. You mentioned him there. Let's get on to some of the stories that have caught my eye. The education spending to be cut by £100 million despite Gordon Brown's pledge. The budget's going to go. The statistics in the Telegraph, the true scale of the government's budget reductions have been revealed for the first time, they say, but it's no great surprise, really, is it? Where the country's in massive debt. Absolutely.
I mean, that's just one statistics. When you actually look into the actual paper itself, they've taken money out from various sectors. I think the biggest one is the enterprise and business sectors, the 24% reduction, that's about a quarter. And that amalgamates around about £1.8 billion. But what I would say as a teacher is, as long as it doesn't ultimately affect the kids' education system, you know, we're all going for targets, and we're
it's bound to, isn't it? If you haven't got the resources, if you haven't got the staffing, it's bound to affect the kids.
I think what we need to be prudent about this. I think what head teachers need to do, and me as a senior member of staff at my school need to do, is make sure that we keep hold of our good teachers, you know, and make sure what we've got in our system, work with it and manage it with resources properly.
Will you have to prioritise your budgets as well? Will you get less money from the local authority and you have to prioritise within your own school?
Definitely. I think the budgets are based on your last year's intake. So we're kind of, you know, we're OK at that, but if we're going to forecast for the future, we really need to look into account the number of people coming into our school, because what we've got is a falling number of roles at the moment. And we also need to look at recruitment. You know, when we've got a high turnover of staff at some point, do we need to look at replacing them one by one, or do we need to keep hold of what we have?
You have a falling role, but at least they're turning up, which a lot of kids don't these days. And there was a story that caught my eye this week. The school that bribes parents with free curry to make sure their children turn up to school. Now, where do you stand on the persuading either parents or children to go to school? I mean, the incentive for me to go to school was not to get the slipper, you know, essentially.
Yeah.
You just went.
I mean, the cane was around when I was at school as well.
Not a great idea. I'm not advocating it, but do we need to persuade children to go to school by rewarding them?
I think the school should be allowed to use any initiatives that suits them best. At the end of the day, we're trying to maximise attendance, school results, basically get them into class. We shouldn't tarnish parents and levy this charge and, you know, court judgments on them should their students not turn up to school. We should be working with parents and engaging them. The thing that surprised me about that is the fact that it was an infant school, and infant to me is lower primary, and they were bribing them. But, you know, if it works,
well, maybe
for the school,
you have to bribe the parents because it's the parents bringing lower primary. You know, the children aren't going to play hooky or truant or whatever, but if the parents don't bring them in, they don't go, do they?
I think it works both ways. You've got to work with your parents, and in extreme situation, you do hear about parents being fined and so forth. But if it's the infants that are not coming to school, something needs to be put in place, a measure put in place. And if curry as an option works and it does get them into school, then that's a great benefit.
Very quickly, because we're out of time, you are still teaching. Are you planning to continue in the classroom?
I've just finished my year's contract when I went back after the Apprentice, and my head's asked me to continue for another year. I'm going to see what happens over the summer holidays. I've got a couple of business initiatives in the pipeline that I'm working on at the moment, so we'll see how that develops.
I can only imagine the reaction of the kids when Sir walked into class and the bloke off the Apprentice. It must have been astonishing. Very nice to have met you.
Thanks
for giving us your thoughts.